What's up, everybody? MoneyE here, back with another edition of the Voices of Wrestling. This is episode 7. I haven't done this in a little bit, probably a month. Last time I did it was probably WrestleMania Night 2 review. I'm going to try to do this at least every other week going forward, if not every week. But I'm here to talk about AEW Double or Nothing 2026 that happened this past Sunday. From New York City in Louis Archer Stadium in New York, in Queens, New York. Um, this is the Double or Nothing honest review. I'll give you my take. I watched the whole thing, and I won't even say. And what a pay per view it was. A lot of people are saying it's the best pay per view of the year, and I'll give my honest analysis at the end. But yeah, it was a fantastic show. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored at all. Well worth the $40. So yeah, I'm enjoying watching these pay per views. AEW always puts up a banger, so I'm not surprised that this was great, especially in New York. The crowd was hot all night, even during the down, even during the down match. I wouldn't even say down matches. I would say not there's so much the matches that the fans weren't looking forward to the most. Even those were good. The New York crowd was great as usual. They are probably New York, Philly, and Chicago are probably the three best wrestling cities in America. I'm not even being biased saying that because New York is great, Philly is great, and we'll see that tonight in Dynamite in Philly, in Collisions in Philly. In Chicago has always been the top wrestling city, but I think New York could be catching up to Chicago at the best. Cause I think it's always been New York, Chicago, Philly, whatever order you want. You could argue Philly, you can argue New York, you can argue Chicago. Maybe one day I'll do that for a podcast, but right now, talk about Double or Nothing. And it started out with a banger for the AEW World Tag Team Championships between Cope and Cage versus the FTR. If Cope and Cage lose, they will no longer be a tag team. FTR wins, obviously they win the tag. Cope and Cage win, they obviously win the tag team title. And this is an I Quit match. I don't think I ever saw a tag team I Quit match, but this is only one person had to say I quit. This was great opener, great way to start out this not start the pay per view. This the crowd was into it. You had some blood, of course. It's AEW. I mean, last month we didn't even have any blood or anything. Only one time. That was by accident. Other than that, it wasn't any blood. But this was it was a good opener, good I Quit match. We had FTR trying to break the arm of Cope. Of Cage, but with this signature block. They smacked. They actually tried to use it on his hand. I think they used it in other ways, but the way that Christian Cage sold that was great. Storytelling was fantastic in this. I think great match. I loved it. I love this, and of course, Cope and Cage win, and they're the new tag team champions. So they've won in WWE and they've won in AEW. I think they're the only few tag teams that have won in both. I give this opener a 3 3/4 out of 10. Out of 5. So 3.75 out of 5. Close to a 4-star, but not quite there. But yeah, 3.75 out of 5. Great match, great opener. You couldn't open with a better match than this. I mean, maybe the next match you could have. As they open with this next match, battle two Japanese guys, Okada and Tishishna. I can't pronounce his name, but great match. Great fucking match. Great storytelling, great in work, great everything. This match had everything you wanted in a match. Storytelling, the psychology between the two, chemistry between the two, the in ring work between the two guys. It was just not one guy carrying the match. They both carried the match. The chemistry between the two is excellent. Excellent. I haven't seen that in the between the two guys in quite some time. Maybe Roman and Cody, maybe. But the psychology between the two, the psychology in this match was fantastic, off the charts, in my opinion. I give this 5 out of 5. This is a perfect match. You couldn't ask for a better match than this. Until two tournament matches I'll get to. I didn't think this could. I mean, there was no match on the card that topped this, but there was 3 matches that came close. I'll tell you that. Maybe even 4, but we'll get to that. Tishishna won, and he's a new AEW International Champion. After the match, Kyle Fletcher came back, pretended to align with Tishishna, but he turned on him, and Tishishna is officially a babyface, I think. Kyle Fletcher is probably the next feud, and they'll probably face each other at All In, and Kyle Fletcher will probably win at All In, maybe. But I can't wait for that feud. Those two are the storytelling. Those two will tell the storyline between the feud, the story between the two. Former friends, Fletcher and him were great friends in Don Collins town. It seemed like for a while the two were out guys, but Fletcher is in, and Fletcher is great. He's fantastic. He's a great heel. Great heel. If it wasn't for MJF, he would probably be the best heel in pro wrestling right now. It's just great. Great heel. But great match, great ending, great after post match. He kept it simple, no overbooking there. Perfect. 5 out of 5. Match right now is the match of the year for me. Now to the first round of the quarterfinal of the Women's Own Cup. Between Sharapova and I can't pronounce it. Latina, the ROH Women's World Champion, who's been the World Champion since ROH started since AEW bought since Tony Khan bought it. I think she's been the only champion. This was a decent match. I'm not gonna complain about it. It was a quality match, but this is the lowest. I'm gonna say this is the lowest rating I'll give of any of the 9 matches from this card. I didn't watch the pre-show, so I'm not counting that. So I give this 2.5 out of 5. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just an average match. I think both women can wrestle, but it could have been a little better. But it was what it was after the 2 great matches that we started out. It was a good slow paced match where people can I want to disrespect them and say bathroom break, but it kind of was, but it wasn't. Still a decent average match. So I'll say that. I'm not gonna be negative about it because I don't think it was that bad of a match. I think it was more like a dynamite match, a collision match. Next match is for the AEW Continental Championship between Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly. There's usually a 20-minute time limit. This is no time limit. Wednesday night last week, Kyle O'Reilly and Moxley drew, and that's why this was no time limit because they drew on Wednesday, and that's how Kyle O'Reilly earned the shot. But it was a he had to either win or draw to earn the shot for the title. So he earned it. Kyle O'Reilly beat Moxley twice. He tapped him out twice, including one at Burning Guts. And I think in the other singles match he did when Mox was no, yeah. So he tapped Mox out twice, and this time Moxley tapped him out and retained the title. So he's the first one to retain the title. The first two title matches were switched. So Moxley wins a good match. I give 3.25 out of 5. Good quality match, good match. 3.25 out of 5. I liked it. Oh wait, putting so recap. Next match is the first round of the Owen Hart tournament, Owen Cup tournament, Owen Hart Cup tournament. And remember, the winner of these two tournaments for women and men's gets a shot at the AEW Women's World Title and AEW Men's World Title at All In London 3, which is the third one in London, on August 30th, 2026, at the end of the summer. So what a banger to start the first round of the men's tournament. When talked about the women's, this is so it's Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. Boy, this was a great match, and I'm a big Will Ospreay fan. I love Samoa Joe too. So this was a match I loved, absolutely loved this match. You couldn't ask for a better match until the next one. But this was great. Great way to start out the tournament. Both guys, the storytelling and the psychology in this match was great. The chemistry was great. I give this a 4 out of 5. I could great match. Will Ospreay wins. I love the storytelling in this match. This is a perfect 4 out of 5 match. Great match. Any other card, this probably be the best match in the card. Great way to start out the tournament. Until the next one. Swerve Strickland versus Bambino, the ROH Ring of Honor World Champion. Bambino versus Swerve Strickland. This is the obviously the other first round matchup. There's 2 more that I think will take place tonight. This was another fantastic match. Fantastic. And I didn't think the Will Ospreay match would be top, but these two topped it. And I give this a 4 and 1/4 out of 5. So 4.25 out of 5. Again, Ospreay and Samoa Joe was great. This one was just a tad better. The storytelling was great. Again, the psychology, the chemistry, awesome. And Swerve Strickland, again, if it wasn't for, he's probably the best heel. I say the best heels are right now are I don't even know in WWE the best heels right now. I don't know. Roman's not really a heel. Brock's not really a heel. Then, best heel in the business right now is MJF. Next, you have to say Swerve. Swerve is the most dangerous man in wrestling right now. Man, that guy, love that guy. Another fantastic match, like I said, 4.25 out of 5. Gotta put that up. Next match is the 4-way match for the women's world title between Tesla, Jamie Hayter, Christian Leonard, and Shakira. All former world champions, and obviously Tesla is the current world champion. Shida is a 2-time world champion, or 3 times. It's 3 times. I think she's won 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. This was a good match, good women's match. I give this a 4.25 out of 5. This was wow. I could just and like I did that. No, not never mind. I was looking at the wrong one. This one. I give this a 3.5 out of 5. Good match. Good 4-way match. Tesla retains as she should. There's gonna be an open spot, a wild card in the women's tournament. Um, I think it's gonna be MoneyE coming back. We haven't seen her for a couple months. I forget the last time we saw her, but I guess she took some time off. She might be dealing with an injury, but I think she's gonna be the wild card. Or the wild card could be Britt Baker from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. Sean Ross reported some report where AEW doesn't know if they have any use for her or anything for her right now, which is suspicious that it comes out the day before Dynamite. But maybe I'm just projecting there. But I'm just hoping Britt Baker is my favorite. But yeah, so speaking of Dynamite, that's starting right now. I'm gonna, where was I? Sorry, I was just turning on. I had to put this in pause and turn it. So the women's match, great match. Tesla is great. She's becoming one of my favorite women wrestlers. It's still Britt Baker, but she's not currently wrestling. So MoneyE and Toni Storm is not currently wrestling. She's not coming back anytime soon. So Tesla has become my favorite right now in AEW on the women's side. So again, 3.5 out of 5. Great match. Then Stadium Stampede match. This was a fun match. The only critique I would say is I think it was a tiny bit overbooked. Not a lot, just a tiny bit. It was a tiny bit overbooked. I said I went on 10 minutes too long. Starting out with with Kevin Knight as coming out TNT champion, turned heel on Sunday. That's another fantastic thing I love. Even though I'm recording this, I'm still watching Dynamite live. So, Standing Stampede, I give this 3.5 out of 5. The only critique I give, it was 10 minutes. I think it was a little bit overbooked. 10 minutes too long, I think, in my opinion. Just a tad bit, just about 10 minutes too long. I think the main event should always go more minutes, unless it's a McMahon match or something, and a story doesn't see that. I think a world championship match on the pay-per-view should go longer than any match. But that's just me. Sometimes it doesn't have to. Sometimes it doesn't have to. Sometimes it doesn't happen. But I think MJF match should have been a little longer than Standing. I think it went on 10 minutes too long. I think it was a bit overbooked. I think they did a bit too much in that match. But I loved it. It was fun. Fun scene. 7-on-7. You don't get that much. You don't get that much. But it was great. So, yeah. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. And now the World Championship match. MJF versus Darby Allin. Hair versus title. If Darby loses, he loses his title. If MJF loses, he gets his hair shaved off. And I was saying, MJF versus Darby Allin for the world title. MJF loses, he gets his hair shaved off. Darby loses, obviously, he loses his title. Great match, great storytelling. Yeah, I love this match. This match is great. I give this a 4 out of 5, 4.75 out of 5. I thought this was the second best match. I mean, rating wise, I give this the second best match from start because it was the world title match. I thought the storytelling was great too. Not that the tournament matches weren't great, but this had more stakes in it. Even though those two were fantastic too. Not denying those two matches were fantastic. So there could have been, this is a 4.75 out of 5. Close to a 5-star match. The second best match in the card, in my opinion. Great match. I loved it. MJF wins the world title again. 3-time champion. Um, After the match, Kevin Knight comes down, climbs in the rope. He's trying to save. It looks like he's saving Darby, but Darby's on the stretcher. And then Kevin Knight does a smash onto the stretcher, takes out Darby, and there you go. The heel turn from Kevin Knight, TNT champion. Fantastic way to end, and that ends the show. Great, great show. Was this the best pay per view of the year? Absolutely, absolutely. And last month, Dynasty was great too. And I did a review on that. I gave that 8 out of 10. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. This was the closest thing to a perfect match, perfect pay per view. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Fantastic. Great. Great match. Great match. I love it. Why do I have this Undertaker? Great match. Great event. Every match meant something. Fantastic wrestling. Fantastic show. No commercials in between. There was no 2 hours of commercials. That's a plus. And it went 4 hours and 5 minutes. For people who complain about going too long, it went shorter than last month. So they've gotten past better of that. I'll say, even though it was Memorial Day weekend, people probably thought it was going to go longer, but no, it went 4 hours and 5 minutes. Perfect way to end. 4 hours and 5 minutes, great. You don't count the pre-show. 4 hours and 5 minutes. Saw that coming. Kevin Knight turns on his partner, his best friend. Saw that coming. But anyway, great show. Pay-per-view of the year. Absolutely better than Dynasty, better than WrestleMania. Night 1 and 2 combined, everything combined. So, yeah, great show. What else is there to say about this? I loved it. Now, how are they going to top this with Forbidden Door and All In? All In might be even better than this. All In might be a 10 out of 10 the way they're doing. If we get MJF, Will Ospreay, Kevin Knight, Darby, um, Kenny Omega versus, I'm hoping Adam Page. I'm hoping Adam Page comes back, and it's Kevin Omega. I mean Kevin Omega. Kenny Omega versus Adam Page. Why I want uh, on. I don't know. I don't know when Page is coming back. So, what else is there to say? Let's see what the fans have to say. That's what I wanted to share. I wanted to share some of what the fans got to say because it's the voice, the voices of wrestling. So, so, uh, AEW will go down as the best pro wrestling show I've experienced. They give me a follow. I don't know. Mm-hmm. what I'm putting this together. I'm not gonna play the video because I'll get. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Mick Foley was at the show. And he was the co-host in the buy-in and got a great ovation. Great segment with MJF to start the show in the pre-show. So yeah, Tony Khan. Yep. What else? MJF beat Darby Allin with the Avalanche Tombstone at the headlight takeover, become the three-time champion. Then MJF was not going bald. He scared his hair. Um, 2 years ago, Double or Nothing, Darby Allin set Jack Perry on fire during the Anarchy in the arena match. What's the difference between Anarchy and Stand and Compete? I feel like Stand and Compete was more of an Anarchy match because it was in an arena, but whatever. Well, 6 years ago happened the first time. Yeah, because the Stand and Compete should be in the stadium. So it should have been the arena. I mean, Anarchy in an arena match, not Stand Stampede. Because basically the same thing. I don't know why they call it Stadium Stampede when it wasn't in the stadium. This was the Stadium Stampede. It was actually in the stadium. I guess it was kind of a stadium because yeah, I guess yeah. Never mind. It wasn't in the arena. It was in the stadium because it was the Lewis or yeah. What else? Yep, easily the best. Brian Cage, easily the best. No hype in the minute for me. It's easily the best of the year. Easily. Yep. It's from Brian Cage too. Brian Cage said this. He's not. He's not following it. Mm, I'm trying to find more. I can't find more about this. Understand voice. So here are my rankings from active audio. Okay, I gave it a four. Not 4 or 5. He gave it a 5. He gave the Cincinnati 3.5 Cincinnati AEW match 4.25 out of 5. So his best match is the Swerve match, I think, right? Give that a 5. Will Ospreay 4.25. For the 4. Yeah, 4. Yeah, so his best match was Swerve and Bambino, which I can't argue that. I mean, So Jay gives it. I don't know who Jay is, but he's another. That's some of the ratings, some of the fans. Let's see. Let's see here. Even overall for, I mean, he gave this. Looks like a yeah, I think it's 4. I'll look on my phone later, but I think it's 4. I think it's best match with best match was the I think Darby match. Was it a small match? He gave a line of 4.25, which is fair. AEW currently living in Bizarro.
Recent memory, certainly of the more modern era. People are talking about this like it may be the best AEW pay-per-view yet. It was a sold-out Louis Armstrong Arena right there in Queens, New York. Dave Meltzer said the crowd was so hot he wanted to bottle it. It was an unbelievable night, banger after banger, as the kids are saying these days. But I know it was music to your ears to hear that they had sold every single seat. Apparently, even comps for talent were extremely limited. And Meltzer reports that the advanced pay-per-view orders, and make no mistake, most people wait and order day of or just moments before the show starts. Advance orders were much higher than this than in recent months or years. Meltzer was acting as if this was going to be one of the stronger pay-per-views. And not only that, on the secondary market, Jeff, tickets were selling for more than 3 times what the face value was. Your cheapest get-in price was around $50 if you bought it from AEWTIX.com. At bell time, though, it was $160. Normally, tickets actually fall as you get closer to the event. That was not the case here. And Jeff, the thing I struggle with this is if you believe the new Nielsen rating system, and that's a whole nother story, it seems like ratings have been trending down, but the interest for this show is through the roof. You saw some of this happen at different times, maybe the inverse of that with TNA. What is the business lesson in this to you, Jeff? What's your takeaway? How do you reconcile that?
Well, the reconciliation in this industry, that's a good jumping off point today, Connie. I think the minute you think you really understand something in life, man, you're in trouble because the metrics are changing. That Nielsen, and it like they admit it, they've changed it a couple of times just in the last 24 months. It used to be, and look, you can go back and not just the Attitude Era, but the Attitude Era is when those quarter hours all of a sudden started really popping out, and you followed it so much there. And then the TNA days, and when we would get minute by minutes and try to study that, and as time went on. But then you enter social media and social media engagement, and now you have X and Instagram, all this kind of stuff. So I just think at the end of the day, you got to have your pulse on a little bit of everything. And when you just talked about the ticket prices going up, because Ticketmaster and that whole world, and how you can buy, and premium seating, and all the dynamic pricing, and all those different things that really go into it, you've got to take it all in. But man, all signs, again, if Meltzer said that about bottling it, man, there's a couple of times throughout careers, more than a couple of times, several times, you have that same thought and go, man, if we could have this crowd every night reacting. But a lot of props to the venue. When you see those shots on TV, the people, it's so intimate, if you will, 10,000 plus being intimate. But man, so what is the business lesson learned there? I think, and when you take a step back and really dissect, and I'm sure we're gonna a couple of different ways. There was a little something for everybody on that show. Stadium Stampede, it was chock full of veterans. Max and MJ and Max and Darby, two of the guys that are both under 30 that were there from day one, guys, and everything in between. I just think the business lesson is be a continual learner. And boy, oh boy, I'll end with this, Conrad. Never has it, like when you end, in our AEW world, end a Wednesday night Dynamite or a Saturday night Collision, and no matter how high it may be or low it may be, there's always the next show.
Yep. There's a little bit snippet of what Jericho thought about it. Now, Jonathan Coachman and Russo are speaking out at Tony Khan for the long run, 5 hours and 12 matches. If you don't count the pre-show, because a lot of people don't count the pre-show, I don't. It was a 4-hour match, 4-hour show with 9 matches. What's the issue?
AEW sickos, who I respect, Vince. We respect Tony, don't we? We had him here on the show.
Yep, yes.
But they went after me again today because I made one very simple comment. I said, hey, as good as the show is, 12 matches over 5 hours, well after midnight. They had to cut the show short because Darby Allin started bleeding, and that was against the rules in New York. But getting the response that they had, how big of a deal was that? Because I feel like right now they needed it more than they've ever needed it.
Yeah, well, Coach, again, it's interesting, and we said this. I think we said it when we interviewed Tony. I know I said it when I interviewed Tony. Tony is still presenting a wrestling show that he's a fan of, and let's face it, man. If it's up to Tony Khan, the show would go on forever, and and we've said it a million times. It's his company. He could do what he wants. That's the one thing what I love about Violent J, because Violent J is basically Tony Khan in JCW. And Jay loves the show a certain way. But when you present Jay with facts, you've got to make changes. I mean, Coach, we learned on YouTube, bro, we were opening up the show, with the show open and then a recap. And then we're starting to find out, like, bro, within the first 2 minutes of your show, you're losing a lot of viewers because you're not starting with something new and action.
Okay.
But the thing is, Coach, when we see things like that, we don't argue with them. We make the adjustments. But the show that Tony wants.
It's crazy because so my video is like 3 minutes, and part of the reason, Vince, is because I know it's what Tony wants. The problem is I think Tony, and there's several examples of this. The last month, I feel like, and I don't give ourselves credit, I'm not kidding around, but ever since our interview, he has changed a lot of the things that he's been doing. He's addressed, we'll talk about it, the next year at WrestleMania. He's addressed the Warner Brothers stuff. He's addressed all that. The one thing he hasn't addressed, and I tried to the fans on X today, is that when you're putting together a pay-per-view, and Vince, I promoted well over 140 pay-per-views in my career. That's part of my job. Every pay-per-view, put out videos, put out the promotion, put out all of it. And the one thing you never did, Vince, is past an hour and put your biggest stars after midnight. You're working against yourself. So they had Darby Allin and they had MJF, 12 matches. 12.
Well,
the last one is your biggest promoted event. It in until after midnight, and it caused all kinds of other things. Vince, he's got to understand that in boxing, the sweet spot is 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
And you don't need, to me, it's 4 hours. And somebody said, I've never heard of somebody complaining about getting more value for your money. And I said, that's what you don't understand. It's not more value. Value is a great, well-linked show. So people go home and say, damn, I can't wait to go back to that one again. But when you leave completely exhausted, and you're like, oh my God, that's not something you want to go back and watch in person. You want to stay home and watch it.
But also, Coach, what else factors into this? You and I know this damn well. And this is what's going on. We'll go back to our time in the WWE. Everybody wants to be on the pay-per-view. Everybody wants to be on the big show. That didn't come into factor in the WWE. If you were in that spot, you were on the show. But you know that's part of it.
100%.
You know, Tony is talent-driven. He knows it's a big show, and he's trying to get as many bodies as he possibly can on the show to make the talent happy.
It's somewhat like the Little League mentality. Hey, you've been in it. You've been in it for the entire 2020 rewards you.
Yes.
We're going to throw you up there. And to me, that's exactly the opposite mentality that you need to have. There were 3 or 4 of those events that very easily could have been on Dynamite on Wednesday night. Very easily.
Yeah.
And you made that work. And all of a sudden now you're putting those big matches on your Wednesday show to put that and then carry these storylines over. And that's another thing I think he's starting to do a little bit. But I think he's really got to get away from match, and tell me the story. They had some really good pre-show packages and pre-match packages. So he's starting to do that. But when you have 12 matches and you only have 2 packages or whatever it is, they kind of get lost in the length of the show.
In my opinion, it's fine. I'm getting my money for what. These two have been in the business, so whatever. I don't like those two. I don't like, especially I dislike Horseman and his opinions sometimes, but he does make a good point in a little bit. So does Russo. They do make good points sometimes. I'm being nice saying sometimes, but come on. If you're gonna count the pre-show, that's stupid. Most people don't like the pre-show. I'm kind of finding any more reactions. Doesn't look like it, but I thought there was going to be more of a reaction. No, that's no. Let me see. Almost gone an hour. I want to play this, but I don't want to get. There's some reactions here.
Fan base. You're not allowed to say that, Coach. I'm not sure if you dwell on social media amongst these people, but say because we're Fed guys.
Of course.
But that's, you know, that couldn't be any farther than the truth, from the truth. We have Sunday night. So much to like about Sunday night. The camera work I thought was the best AEW's ever done. I don't know if they've updated their cameras. They looked very sharp and very crisp. The stage setup was incredible because they really kind of brought to life New York City with the scaffolding on the stage and just really made it feel just very New York. The crowd was incredible. I got a feel from the Takeshita and Okada match. It really felt like that Bryan Kenny Omega match when the first time they visited Arthur Ashe Stadium at Grand Slam. That was incredible. I like the fact that there was no blood. No blood absolutely enhanced the show, and I know that was part due to the New York State Athletic Commission, but I hope Tony Khan realizes that he doesn't need so much color on a show because it just makes it feel that much more important when he uses it next time when there's less of it. And the wrestling, coach, I thought the wrestling was tremendous.
I can't read this on. This is wrong, but how do I zoom in this? I don't know. I don't know if you guys can read it. It's wrong, but let's see. I can't. I'm not gonna play that. We'll review. There's some more we're gonna follow. Yeah, I think that's it. I think there's not much left to show, but I have nothing else to say. It was a great show, best show of the year by far, pay-per-view or what, any special event. So, with that said, thank you guys. This Friday night we'll be doing No Mercy 2001 on the Wrestling for the Years channel. Check that out. Myself, Doug, Daniel, and Kenneth, I think he's back. So we'll be doing that. I think I have 2 more videos to do this week before that. Probably do it tomorrow. Reacting to my Premier League and my English Football League predictions I did in August. So I'm going to react to that. That should be fun. And it's going to be recorded too. So I'll put that out tomorrow. But MoneyE, later, guys.